is your life as exciting as you make your business in your life? I had to really take a look at that. I was like, am I doing fun things?
Yeah.
Am I doing things that are making me a really happy person? What does that look like after 2 o'clock?
This is my everyday. This is the standard that I set. This is how I want to show up. So I'm going to use what I have. Where can my standards be raised right now? Where am I settling? What do I not want to even tolerate anymore? And this is what I'm starting with.
Business, most of us got it on lock. Like, yeah, we could grow more and
Yeah.
make more, but it really is what happens when you close your laptop at 2 o'clock. What else is being impacted by the energy that you're bringing to your family and the people around you?
We are here at Straight to the Top, and we're having this conversation in the room really around up-leveling your identity, your standards, your team, your business, and what it really takes to get to the next level. And these are the conversations I love to have, not only with our masterminders, but also like with friends in our business, with Dan, like with Dan's obviously my husband and my business partner. And I love just like letting people into the behind the scenes conversation of like, what does it really take to get to that next level? Because it's so vague of just like, oh, I'm striving to get to the next level. I would like to quantum leap or like collapse time. And what does it actually mean?
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk with you, Lindsey Murray, who is my friend and also an advisor inside of Elevate, and really like give the behind the scenes of what it looks like with both of us when we are trying to go through like this big up level. And you have this concept that you shared on Instagram around like the $3 million Lindsey, the $5 million Lindsey. And I have done things like this also. So let's talk about that. Like $5 million Lindsey, it started $3 million Lindsey.
Yeah.
So first of all, like where did that concept come from? And where did it start, like to be grounded in like, because what does it actually look
Yes.
like?
Yeah. And I just remember when I started my business and I've been in the business on the online space for like 15 years. And there comes a time when you're like, what's the secret? Like why isn't anybody talking about how to go from here to here? And you look at online and you research and there's no one way. And
Yeah.
so you're trying to find your way.
Yep.
And one of the things that I had to really get honest with about myself was, especially when like we've been talking at this event about like regulation and like regulating your nervous system. And I was really just trying to figure out how I could be the person who runs the business. And so I really started to look at what that actually meant. And I had attended a conference 2 to 3 months after I started my business. So it was very early on. And I was nervous to kind of make the wrong moves and the wrong investments and the wrong decisions. And I was just kind of like waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
Versus being proactive because I just didn't know what to do. And I heard this concept and it was from Macy McNeely and she said the $20 million Macy. And I was like, that was so far out of what I could understand. But I was like, what if I just titrated it? What if I was like, what is the one step I could take so that I could actually show up as a version of what she seems to be striving for? Because that seems like a really big goal. I have big goals. So what is that going to look like? And for me, truly, it was $3 million, Lindsey. I was like, I had made, $100,000 in 90 days. And I was like, where do I go from here? And it was like, okay, if I want this big, audacious goal, that wasn't just paying my mortgage and sending my kids to camp. It was like bigger than me for the legacy. What did that look like? And it started with a walk. Like I was like, I'm going to tell my husband I need to go for a walk.
Yeah.
That was the first standard I set. The second standard was I'm going to eat on glass plates instead of paper plates. And so it was these small, minor things that actually impacted how I showed up on my business. Because my walks now, big part of why my social media does so well, big part of my creative process. And had I not said, I am first, the first thing I do in the day is take care of me, I need to go for a walk, I don't think I would have been anywhere near where I am today in my business. And it was with just seeing something that was somewhat possible, a little out of reach, and then laying the foundation for like how that actually showed up in my life.
The reason why I love this so much and why we love having this conversation so much is because every person's business is so different. Like that's something we've been talking a lot about at Straight to the Top is like your business is like your thumbprint. it's unique. So you have to figure out what's $5 million Lindsay. I get to figure out what's $5 million Nicole. And they're different and they should be different. And just like $20 million Macy is very different than the life that we want to have even. And that's like a really beautiful thing, is to figure out and just ask like, okay, this is my audacious, delusional goal. So how am I going to take one small step? But where did like the paper plates come from?
Yeah. So I found myself kind of like, you have your business, you know how to take care of your clients, you know how to market. But then I just found myself kind of like cutting corners just to get things done. And I was like, if I'm going to set this standard and create an identity for who my business needs me to become to have money in the bank that isn't there yet, to act as if I've made the 3 million, it starts with like how I'm transitioning through tasks in my day. And so instead of getting up and jumping on my computer, I don't go on my computer. I don't do anything technology for the first hour and a half. And then I was like, well, how am I eating my breakfast? Well, first of all, I wasn't eating my breakfast. I was skipping meals. Okay. So I was like putting that into my calendar. So it's like it wasn't just one big change. I started to just pay more attention, be more aware of the impact of what was happening throughout the transitions of my day, not when I was meeting with my team or my clients, but how was I actually like preparing myself to show up.
Yeah.
And I was just, once I ate breakfast, rushing. I was like paper plating it and eating with my hand, like quick sandwich and whatever it was. I was like, I don't like how this feels.
Yeah.
So I don't want to feel rushed. So how do I create more space and enjoy this space? So I really think that we forget that we get to enjoy our lives and the lives that our business has provided us. Now, I wasn't making a lot of money at that time. It was just getting started. And so I was like, what can I control within the confines of my home? Well, I have these nice plates. I never eat on them. Why not eat on them breakfast, lunch, and dinner and really enjoy the act of eating before my next meeting? And it really just started there and started to ripple.
And you had the plates. It's not like you went out to like some fancy department store, which also would be okay. Yeah. But I just love the act of like, it started with you, with what you have, actually using what you have. And it's kind of like that, the like saving effect, when it's like, I'm anti that also, which like, I don't want to save things. Like, I'm going to use it. So I'm not going to save a top or a bag or like even my shoes. I'm like a shoe person through and through. I love a fancy shoe. I love a bag. I'm going to use the hell out of it. I'm not saving it for a fancy occasion. It's like, no, every day, like this is my everyday. This is the standard that I set. This is how I want to show up. So I'm going to use what I have. So I love that you just kind of like looked around and assessed of like, where can my standards be raised right now? Where am I settling? What do I not want to even tolerate anymore? And this is what I'm starting with.
Yeah. And it really was just what I could control at the time. And it then started to just take this like ripple. It was just like dropping a stone into the pond. And it started to then move into other areas. And then my husband, he would like bring me something to eat and it would be on the glass plate. And so because I rose my standards, he rose to the occasion. I just gave the opportunity for other people to do that. And then I started to see it reflected back in my clients. They would show up a little more prepared to the call. They would show up ready. You know, I always say like, put your earrings on. It's very easy. Put the earrings on. You already have them, put them on, and you're going to show up as a different person. And it was just all these little signals that I didn't have to change anything. I didn't have to go get Botox to make my face look different. I didn't have to go buy a new wardrobe to do anything. I maybe showed up in more color because I had that in my closet. And it started to, it was just creating an environment that my business could actually thrive in versus me just showing up to play the game. I'm all about the game, but I might as well look good and feel good doing it.
I think these are such great questions of just like, what are you tolerating? Where are you settling? Where are you just like doing things to freaking just do them? And you're not actually looking at like, do I enjoy this? Am I showing up as my best self? We, again, like at Straight to the Top, we've been talking about the concept of like, fuck fine. I shared like, I hate fine. I don't want to have a fine life. I don't want to look fine. I don't want to feel fine. Like, I would actually rather feel like angry then feel fine.
Yeah.
Because at least it's like, I'm really like feeling something. So these are just questions to like think about and say like, where am I settling? Where do I not want to do this anymore? And how do I take that small step and just like start to make those changes? So
Yes.
what do you say now is like, what is that next thing? Or do you know? Because I like sometimes I like actually struggle with this question where I'm like, okay, well, this is my $5 million self. Where am I settling? Because there is always an up level and an evolving, we're always evolving. We're human. So like, what is that thing that you have been settling?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I always kind of look at these pockets of my life because there's, one side of the coin, someone might take this and say like, oh, well, I have to overhaul everything.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
And so there is always like, okay, the $3 million version of me did these things really well, but like maybe she was lacking a little bit in the time with her spouse. So maybe that's an area I could really lean into that makes me feel good come Monday morning, that my weekend with my spouse was even better. So we've just committed to like planning each other, like a date for each other every month that we don't tell each other about.
Yeah.
I made my husband go camping. So that was exciting. That was a new challenge for him. He raised his standard, but it's like you do so much and you don't validate it enough. We all do that. And so I had to really say, okay, this is where $3 million Lindsey ends.
Yeah.
And so like, what else do I feel I could be stretched in? What relationships could I improve? What vacation could I take? Is it, spending a different quality time with my child or even leaning into different parenting? So I really look outside of my business because business, most of us got it on lock. Like, yeah, we could grow more and make more, but it really is what happens when you close your laptop at 2:00. What else is being impacted by the energy that you're bringing to your family and the people around you? So that's kind of like where I look as outside of the business.
Yeah. That unlocks like probably a whole other episode around just like you want to be magnetic. You better have a life outside of your business because if you don't, you're just going to be boring as shit.
Yes.
No one wants to work with someone who is in their business 24/7. Like you need to be passionate about something. You need to have hobbies. You need to like have substance, like have a life outside of your business that you are actually excited about. That's really where magnetism comes from. Like a lot of us are obsessed with our business, but it falls so flat because you're not nurturing yourself outside of business. It's kind of like, I don't know about you, but like when I first had my kids, it was just like so much mom. Like I was just really so much in that role of mom. And I really had to over time. It didn't happen right away. But now I know like my youngest is 8 now. So I've really started to nurture the other parts of myself and remember like, oh my gosh, I do like fiction books. Oh my gosh, I do like to spend time with friends. Oh my gosh, I do like to go for more walks and be outside. And like you said, nurturing those other relationships. So it's so interesting because I think sometimes we want to grow our business and we think it's just like business, business, but actually find a hobby. Find something you're passionate about.
Look outside the business first. Like, how are you serving yourself and others before you dig deeper into this, like, kind of this, like, it has substance, but really, like, my husband always says to me, he's like, who's going to be at the mailbox when you're 60? Is it going to be your business and the people on the internet, or is it going to be the people that you nurtured and gave back to on a daily basis? And someone also had said to me in the last year, she was like, is your life as exciting as you make your business in your life? And I had to really take a look at that. And that was right before I kind of created this new identity version of myself, because I was like, am I doing fun things? Am I just going to the movies? Am I just going and for a walk that isn't creative business related? Am I doing things that are making me a really happy person? And like, what does that look like after 2:00? And what does it look like when I'm on my calls with my clients?
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So, okay. $5 million Lindsey, if you're watching, figure out what your $5 million or whatever that goal is for you so you can really stretch yourself. And I think that's what it is. It's like getting outside of your comfort zone and raising the standard for your life, and the ripple effect, like you said, your clients and the people like in your life and your friends, like it rubs off on people. And that really is like the impact that we want to have. So thank you so much for just talking about this. We love these behind the scenes conversations and like the inner workings of our brain. So if you have any questions, send us a message, leave a comment below, and to more of these good conversations. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you.